Good morning. I'm Chaplain John Rollison with the Dobbins Air Reserve Base Chapel, and thank you so much for joining us for Lesson 3 of our Advent devotional series from Cru Ministry. Today's lesson begins with a reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 2, starting with verse 11. This, the first of his signs, Jesus did at Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Now from the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. May God bless the reading of his holy word. And now we'll have our devotional reading from Cru Ministry. When we hear the words of the Christmas carol, "Joy to the world, the Lord has come," we can think of Jesus as a baby in swaddling clothes, asleep in Bethlehem. But an event near the end of Jesus' earthly life would paint the most powerful portrait of joy. A few years prior to that event, recorded in John chapter 2, Jesus performs his first public miracle, which happened at a wedding in Cana. Interestingly, out of all the miracles Jesus could have selected for his inaugural demonstration of power, he chooses one that does not meet a desperate need, as most of his later miracles would, but rather a miracle that creates joy. Jewish wedding feasts were marvelously festive occasions, often lasting an entire week. They were full of joy, feasting, laughter, and dancing. The most important element of the wedding feast was wine. The master of the banquet, to keep the wine flowing, would usually bring out the expensive wine first and let everyone drink, and then the master would bring out the lesser quality wine. At this particular wedding, the wine started running out earlier than expected. Mary, Jesus' mother, suggested that Jesus do something about it. And Jesus tells the servants to fix up six large stone jars with water and to take some to the master of the banquet. And when he tasted it, the water has been transformed into the best quality wine. The guests, who were overwhelmed with joy, claimed that the master saved the best for last. A few years later, during the Last Supper, on the night that Jesus is betrayed, he tells his disciples that the wine represents the blood that he would shed on the cross. In fact, he endured the cross, knowing the joy that waited him and awaited upon his resurrection. And Jesus would ultimately bring the joy that results from the freedom of sin at the cost of his own life. And the couple at the wedding likely did not have the resources to provide enough wine for their own wedding feast, but Jesus provided. And likewise, we cannot afford to pay for our own sins, and yet Jesus provided. He paid our sin debt with his own blood, purchasing eternal life. And this is why we can sing "Joy to the World." I pray this brought you hope and encouragement this morning. Until tomorrow, I'm Chaplain John Rollison with the Dobbins Air Reserve Base Chapel.